Well, hi, this is Ken Auerbach from Cartier, Bernstein, Auerbach, and Steinberg. If you or someone you care for has been injured from no fault of their own, please contact Cartier, Bernstein, Auerbach, and Steinberg at myinjuryli.com or call 631-654-4900. Whether auto or work-related, slip and fall, trip and fall, construction accidents, dog bite, medical malpractice, or nursing home neglect, or various other types of negligence, please contact me at Cartier, Bernstein, Auerbach, and Steinberg by visiting me at myinjuryli.com or call 631-654-4900. I will represent you with integrity and passion. Living in pain from no fault of your own can be emotionally and physically detrimental and affect all aspects of your life. Please contact me, Ken Auerbach, at Cartier, Bernstein, Auerbach, and Steinberg by visiting myinjuryli.com or call 631-654-4900 for an immediate and free consultation and the support and representation you deserve. Well, hi, everyone. This is personal injury attorney Ken Auerbach from Cartier, Bernstein, Auerbach, and Steinberg. Welcome back to our program, From No Fault of Your Own. I'm here with my great associate and my co-host, Amanda Spinner. Amanda, welcome today.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Amanda. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Well, folks, as you know, it's our goal to give you an insider's view of bringing and proceeding with various types of personal injury actions caused by the negligence of some other party. And among these areas that we have explored, and we're going to continue to do so, are car accidents, trip and slip and falls, construction accidents, medical malpractice, dog bites, nursing home neglect, products liability, and really many, many other circumstances of negligence and the serious injuries that often occur. And through our journey together, hopefully we have removed some of the mystery, uncertainty, and helped you feel empowered, knowledgeable, and confident in the process. And that's our goal, to continue to do that. We are live today, so if you do have a question, you can give us a call at the studio at 631-451-1039. And we'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have about personal injury. That's 631-451-1039. And Amanda, if they do call in, do we have anything for them?
Yes, we will give you a From No Fault of Your Own t-shirt.
And we are being sponsored again today by a soon-to-be great restaurant and bar. It's Petey's Taps and Caps. They're going to be on South Country Road in East Patchogue. Be open in mid-August. And they've already said to us that they're going to give a free round of anybody that announces that they heard about them on the show. First free round. And they will also give out our wonderful From No Fault of Your Own t-shirts, right?
That's Amanda?
Awesome. Okay. So we're looking forward to that, and we're looking forward to having that great place. And Petey is one of a kind. I think Petey's last count, how many hats does he have?
400 something or
No, it's 1,700.
Oh, okay. I don't recall.
Yes, 1,700 hats and caps. And so if you like the cap, I bet you if you said to Petey, Petey, I really like this cap. And if you said to him, Petey, I need you to have this cap here, I have a feeling he'd bring it to the restaurant.
I'm thinking maybe we should do caps.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe we have to be doing that.
From No Fault of Your Own caps.
You know what? It's a good idea, Amanda. We have to start focusing on caps now, too.
Yeah.
We have T-shirts, beautiful T-shirts,
Yep.
and now we're going to go with caps. So, Amanda, what I'd like to do today, and I know you and I have been talking about this, is let's go back over some of the areas that we have covered on shows, but it's been a while, and talk about some of the kind of problems that clients face in this process to try to get justice, how to get that justice, some things to do, some things not to do. And a lot of these things come up repeatedly, and they come up repeatedly on our show because we want to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of, that you have the best chance to get justice. And most of our clients have told us that it really does help them, that they need to get an experienced lawyer, an attorney that's able to work with them from the beginning and work through the whole process with them. And one of the things that we think is most important is that you get someone who's experienced in the area of personal injury law, but you also get somebody that's compassionate and somebody that mostly has a skill of listening.
Right.
And listening is a really important part of what we do, Amanda. And I think it's important, Amanda, from both the sense of from a client standpoint, but also from the attorney standpoint. You agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can only do our job if we're listening and we're taking into account what the client's saying and we're going through all of the documentation that's available to us. If we're not listening, then we're not doing justice to the client.
So the clients come to us, Amanda, and we get them in different ways. Oftentimes we could get them because they hear us on the radio, which is
Yes.
great. We love when you give us a call. We get them on the internet sometimes.
Yes.
We have many clients for many years that we've represented who refer their friends and relatives and themselves if they happen to, again, get into another accident. I just had one today, a young lady who had been in a serious accident, and she was just minding her own business this past Friday night, and a vehicle comes down the road, makes a U-turn onto the side of the road. Instead of just staying there, comes out and hits her and really destroys her car, and really she suffered some serious injuries. And one of the most important things that we do tell our clients is that you need to get to us early.
Yes.
You need to contact us early. And I was really glad that she did, because what happens is the insurance companies will try to solicit you. The insurance company for the offending vehicle will try contacting you and try to get you to potentially settle your case before you really know what your injuries are. And that's a real problem, right, Amanda? We've been dealing with that and really trying to stop that.
Yes, we've talked about that on a lot of our shows, that people should not be signing documents without first speaking to an attorney. It's not a law. We would like that to be the law. But really, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're signing settlement documents before ever speaking to an attorney.
And what they do, and they do it within the context sometimes of, well, we're calling you up about your property damage.
Right.
Because our insured was at fault and we really want to do the right thing by you. And so we're calling you to see if we can resolve that. But, but while we have you on here, could you tell us, was anything bothering you? And it seems innocuous. It seems like they're just trying to do it because they're just swell people. But I'm sorry, I'm cynical about it. Most of the time, it's not because they're being swell. But because they've been trained to go ahead and do that and try to solicit you. And now they get on the phone and they start asking questions in addition to the property damage, Amanda, about personal injuries and bodily injury.
Right. And we've talked about this a bunch on the show, but oftentimes right when an accident happens, you don't know the extent of your injuries. You haven't really fully treated. You've maybe gone for either urgent care or you've gone to the hospital, but you don't really know the extent of your injuries. You don't know if you have a head injury. You don't know if you have, oftentimes you'll know if you have a fracture right away, but you might have a bunch of other injuries that are really substantial. And, you settling out when you don't know that isn't a good idea.
Yeah, it's not a good idea for a number of reasons. It's not a good idea because you want to make sure that if you are seriously hurt, that you're fairly compensated for that.
Right.
And I always tell people you get one bite at the apple. Mm-hmm. So what happens is if someone starts trying to negotiate personal injuries and bodily injury with you, before you really know how hurt you are, and you sign a release, that release is actually oftentimes binding on you. Most of the time, it will be binding on you.
Right.
And it seems unfair because you say, wait a second, this is an insurance company. And I have people say that later. Well, I didn't know. Well, we're telling you so you do know.
Right.
Okay? And so if you're in an accident, pick up the phone and call us. You can get us, Amanda, how?
You can get us on the phone at 631-654-4900, or you can get us on the web at myinjuryli.com. Again, that's 631-654-4900 or myinjuryli.com.
And what we do at that point is we listen to you. We listen to you in terms of how the accident happened. We try to confirm whether or not you've now noticed or notified your insurance company. Hopefully you're waiting for the police to come to the scene. Now in New York City, it's a problem right now because they will not send out anybody unless you're alleging that there's horrific injuries and a death. Otherwise, they will not send a policeman out. But we can't change what they're doing in there. But what we can do is we can make sure that in addition to you notifying your insurance company that you're going to go ahead and make sure you file the right documents early on. And there's special documents that have to be filed with regard to your medical care. And we've talked about that on other shows, but I think it's important that we hit on that. In New York is what we call a no-fault state, Amanda, right? So your medicals go under the vehicle in which you're either in, driving, or as a passenger, or if you're a pedestrian, the vehicle that strikes you under that separate part of their policy, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's really an important part to know. We'll talk about that when we get to the other side, but there's a 30-day limitation period. And that means that there are some exceptions to it, but in general, you got to be thinking, if I'm in an accident, I have to report it to the insurance company, I have to report it to my insurance company, and I have to file a no-fault application. It's not good enough to just get the no-fault number. And some people say, well, I got the claim number. You have to actually file the application that supports your claim. So we'll talk about this more on the other side as we protect you and you get to get justice. Welcome back to our program. If you're just joining us, this is personal injury attorney Ken Auerbach. You're on our program From No Fault to Your Own. I'm live and I'm here with my amazing associate, and I mean that when I say that, Amanda Spinner, and my great co-host. I know you folks love her, but it's hard to love her more than I love her. So it's great. It's great that I get to be on the radio with her and work with her, and we really do enjoy working together because we care about the same things. We care about our clients. We care about getting them justice, and we fight for them. We fight hard for them. And ultimately, at the end of it, we want to know, and we have to know, that we've laid it all out. We've given 110%, and we do that. So we're really glad that you're listening. We're glad that you give us an opportunity to represent you. We really love doing what we do. And if you do call into the studio today, right now, what they're going to get, Amanda, at 631-451-1039, what are they going to get?
We will give you a From No Fault of Your Own t-shirt.
And if you or someone you care about has been injured as a direct result of someone else's negligence, get us at 631-654-4900 or on myinjuryli.com. That's 631-654-4900 or myinjuryli.com. And we really would be privileged to fight to get you justice. All of our consultations on personal injury cases are always free, so it doesn't cost you anything. We will go ahead and sit with you. We'll listen to you. We'll listen to the story in terms of what the facts are, and then we'll let you know if we believe you have a viable case of a serious injury. And if you do, you can retain us. And if you do retain us, the original consultation doesn't cost you anything. And if you retain us, it doesn't cost you anything unless we make a recovery. It's all on a contingency basis. We'll also lay out disbursements. Won't cost you anything if we're not successful. You do not have to pass those back. And you can listen to our program, Amanda, when?
Every Monday from 4 to 5 p.m.
And we do have a couple of our longtime listeners out there. We have Danny, who tremendous person, great listener, and Danny's actually in the past referred cases to our office, and he said he's listening, he's out there. He said we're sounding good, he said. So we really appreciate you, Dan, very much, and appreciate Rosa, your better half, and when I see you, because you are listening, and I know you do call in too, we'll get you those No Fault of Your Own t-shirts, okay? So let's get back to what we were talking about, Amanda. But before we do that, I know we have a sponsor today. And of course, our sponsor today is who, Amanda?
Yes. So our sponsor today is PD's Taps and Caps. They will be opening on South Country Road in East Patchogue in mid-August. And we've talked about them on the show before. They're going to be opening in mid-August. And anyone that mentions that they heard us on the radio will get a free round of drinks. And also will get a note from No Fault of Your Own t-shirt.
So let's get back to what we were talking about. So in automobile cases, they're unique because the medical benefits are paid through the policy of insurance of the vehicle that you're in, or if you're a pedestrian, it's also paid under that same vehicle that struck you.
Right.
So think of it this way. You could be in an accident, and it may or may not be your fault, and that's why they call it no fault. And if it's your fault or not your fault, you still have the right to go ahead and get your medical benefits paid for. And that's under a portion of the policy. It's known as the no-fault portion of your policy. And it provides personal injury protection. The minimum amount of coverage in New York is $50,000. So those benefits, what they will cover you for is medical benefits, but it will also cover you for lost wages. And the minimum amount is 80% of your salary, or $2,000 per month, whatever's less. Okay. Now, you can buy extra coverage or additional coverage, and I would suggest to you that if you do work and have a good job, that you really want to consider that, because $2,000 a month might not come close to what your actual salary is.
Right.
And so you can get additional benefits for that. And it's important, because if you're out and you're hurt and you're seriously hurt, while you're out and while you're recovering, it's bad enough to have to be dealing with the injuries. It's even worse now when you have economic pressure because you can't pay your bills.
Right.
And so, Amanda, the no fault, and we talked about, is part of your policy, and you have to file an application within how many days?
30 days.
All right. So it's 30 days. Now, we will take care of that for them, right, Amanda?
Yes. So if you come into our office within, obviously, the 30 days of you getting into the accident, we take care of that. We have you sign the no fault application, but we take care of filing it, and we take care of sending everything out to the insurance companies.
And what we do is we make sure that we have proof that it was sent out. So we'll have email proof and email confirmation. And then our office will call the insurance company, confirm receipt, and we will tell them typically that we want them to respond to the email and let us know that, in fact, they did receive it.
Correct. Yeah. We like to confirm it. We need to make sure that our clients are protected. We need to make sure that they get that no fault coverage.
So after the person is in the accident, all right, they go to the hospital, hopefully, if they're really hurt, or they go to some type of medical facility as soon as possible. Is that correct?
Yes. So if you don't feel anything right away and you don't feel the need to go to the hospital, we always obviously suggest, though, as soon as you're feeling something, to immediately go to the doctor and get checked out.
And the reason, first and foremost, is for your own personal, obviously, health.
Yes.
Because we want to make sure that you're able to go ahead and get medical support for whatever that injury was that was suffered. But in addition to that is, if you don't go for medical care, what the insurance companies will do, and they'll defend on anything they could defend on. They put it on their checklist, and they're like, all right, we'll try this one. No, that didn't work. Okay, we'll try that one. And so they'll say, if you didn't go to the hospital or a doctor within a reasonable period of time after the accident, they're going to start spouting the fact that, well, how hurt could the person be? They never went to the medical facility, and it's X number of days since.
Right.
And so does that mean definitely that if you didn't go the first day or 2 or 3 days that you will not have a case? No, it doesn't mean that at all. What we're saying is we want to make sure that you put yourself in the best position to get healthy, yourself in the best position to get a doctor to assess what your condition is, and then also at the same time to make sure that if you are hurt, that insurance company is not going to be able to come up with the mantra of, well, the person never treated, so how hurt could they be? The person never went to the facility.
Right.
And I've had clients who have said, well, you know what, I was taking over-the-counter medication, and I was doing that for a couple of weeks because I thought I would get better. And I've had cases that clearly have been able to prove there's a serious injury, but it's a fight.
Right. It's a fight on did this accident cause that injury? Because now you have that time in between where you weren't treating.
And so that lapse in time is what the insurance company will try to use against you. And, most good people, they do not go ahead and go to medical facilities unless they feel like they're hurt. And that's the right thing.
Right.
But what I say to people is if anything's bothering you, go get checked out. You have the no-fault insurance. It's going to get paid through that. You're not going to have a deductible. And you're going to be able to go ahead and make sure that everything is good. Versus you not doing it. Now you wait. Now you sit back. and now things start spiraling out of control. They spiral out of control because you're not taking care of your health, but they also spiral out of control because now you're hurt. Now you didn't file the appropriate documents, the no-fault documents, and now we're fighting. We're behind the 8 ball, and now we have to try to show a reason why you delayed, and we have to try to show a reason if you didn't get that application in on time. Do not be in that position. Call us right away. If you're at that accident and you don't know what to do, just make sure you pick up the phone and you call us or you get us on the web. Amanda, how?
So again, you can call us at 631-654-4900, or you can get us on the web at myinjuryli.com. Again, that's 631-654-4900 or myinjuryli.com.
Do not be manipulated by adjusters for insurance companies picking the phone up and trying to be swell people. And I'm not telling you that some of the people there, there's many fine people there, but remember, they're doing their job. Mm-hmm. Their job ultimately is to reduce the exposure to the insurance company. They could tell you differently. It's just not the case.
Right.
And our experience tells us that their interest is for the insurance company. Their interest is not in protecting you. And even if it's your own insurance company sometimes, and you say, well, it's my own insurance company. Well, that doesn't mean anything either, okay? They're interested in reducing exposure to the insurance company. So we'll see you on the other side. We'll talk more about it. How do you protect yourself? How do you get justice? Well, welcome back to our program. If you're just joining us, this is personal injury attorney Ken Auerbach. You're on our program from No Fault of Your Own. I have my great associate and my co-host, Amanda Spinney, here with me, and we are exploring some of the most important issues in personal injuries caused by accidents. If you or someone you care about has been injured as a direct result of someone else's negligence, contact us at myinjuryli.com or call 631-654-4900. It's myinjuryli.com or call 631-654-4900. If you call into the studio today at 631-451-1039 with any questions about personal injury, you'll get what, Amanda?
You will get a From No Fault of Your Own t-shirt.
And we would love to give you them. They are around. I got to tell you, there was one yesterday in one of my favorite places to go.
Spotted.
Okay. It was, where Tara's Pub. All right.
Tara's Inn, yep.
Tara's Inn, I should say, in Port Jefferson. And great place to go if you wanted to get the burgers there and the fries, and it's an old-time pub. And there was someone in there, actually, gentleman's name was Mike.
Yes, shout out to Mike.
Shout out to Mike. Mike, you had one of our shirts on there, Mike, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you're out there, and it's fun when we see it, right?
Yes.
So really, it's important that you give us a call if you are in an accident. Let us fight for you to fight to get you justice. And all of our consultations on personal injury cases are always free. If you do retain us, it's on a contingency. It means it doesn't cost you a dime unless we make a recovery. We'll lay out expenses too. And if we're not successful, you do not have to pass those expenses back. And you can listen to our program, Amanda. When is that?
Every Monday from 4 to 5 p.m.
So we are back. We were talking about, Amanda, the process of going for a personal injury case, and if you're in a car accident, and one of the important things is to make sure that you get to us early.
Yes.
Very early.
Yes.
Pick up the phone, call us. Even if you don't have serious injuries, if it turns out, we'd like to guide you.
Yes.
We'd like to tell you, look, this is what you need to do to see if in fact you need our help. Go get medical care. Go get a medical follow-up. We want you to get better. We don't wish anybody to get hurt, and we don't want anybody to be hurt badly. But if you are hurt, we want to make sure that you're getting the proper care, you're going through the proper process, you're making sure that you file it, the no-fault application timely. Now, after a person files the no-fault application, Amanda, typically then they're going to start treating with a doctor, right?
Correct. So you'll treat with whatever's bothering you, whether that's neurologically, orthopedically. A lot of our clients go to chiropractors, they go to physical therapy. So you'll treat with a whole range of whoever you need to treat with based upon your doctor's recommendations. And all of that will be covered by that no fault.
So after that, what will happen is you'll schedule an appointment, and we will schedule an appointment to get you in. and we will sit with you, and we will then speak to you about the things that occurred with regard to the accident and the facts that occurred and the facts in terms of how the accident happened. And that's the first part. It's called liability. It means, is the defendant responsible in whole or part for your injuries? Now, it's possible that there could be a combination. It could be that the defendant is fully responsible, 100%. It could be that the defendant is almost fully, or it could be any other percentage between 1% and 100. And that's really for us to assess. Sometimes we don't have all the information, but we do at least get started, and we want to listen to you because we're trying to assess now who bears the responsibility for the accident. And it's important you get to us early with regard to that, is because we can get the police report. We can see what's on the police report. We can see if there are any witnesses on there. We can speak to people. We can speak to witnesses. You know, what happens is oftentimes people's memories change of things.
Yes.
And what we want to make sure is the earlier the better. So the earlier that we can talk to you, we can try to get through what the facts are and make sure that we're there to protect you. But we're also able to reach out potentially to witnesses. Those witnesses will have usually a better memory of what happened right after the accident, Amanda.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize, but a lot of times witnesses do come in handy. We've had cases where we call up a witness and they remember the entire scene and they're a completely unrelated party. And that's so helpful to us when it comes to determining who was liable.
And so our job is to try to get as much information as we can. Your job is to give us as much information as you have. And between the both of us, and between you folks and between us, we work as a team. I was saying that to one of our clients today that called up, and it was really good that she called up, and she had been given some type of a notice of an independent, they call it medical exam, and we'll talk about those in a moment. And she was asking really good questions, and I explained to her what that meant. I reminded her of what I said at the original intake, and she was almost like apologetic, saying to me, look, I'm sorry I'm taking your time. And I said, listen, if you knew how to do this, you wouldn't need us.
Right.
And so we want to take the time. We do take the time. It's our privilege to represent you. And if we're going to go ahead and represent somebody, we're going to give it our all. We're going to give you our time. We're going to give you all of the many, many years of experience we have, both practically and things that we've learned by studying, and things that if we don't know, you can be darn sure that we'll go out and make sure that we get an answer for it. Because really, as a lawyer, one of the things that you're taught to do is you may not have all the information at your fingertips. You may have a lot of it, but you do know where to find that information,
right,
and how to get the answer and how to get the right answer. And we always put our clients in the best position to be able to stand up against these big insurance companies who are not fighting for you, they're fighting against you. And it may even be your own insurance company.
Right. And I think the most important thing, or one of the most important things, is that you feel that whoever's representing you is listening to you. Just as you would want to go to a doctor who's listening to you, you would want to do the same thing with your attorney. So
I want to give a shout out. Actually, we have another one of our listeners out there, and they wanted us to shout out, not themselves, but they said, could you shout out Xavier? Okay. And there was one other name, Xavier and Jacob. And they said to tell you, Grandma and Papa love you.
Aww.
Love you to pieces. You're the best thing that ever happened to them. And if they knew how good grandchildren were, they would have had them first.
Aw, thanks for listening to us, guys.
So we love you, Xavier and Jacob and Grandma and Papa. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate you. And let's get back to the issue in terms of client comes to us. Mm-hmm. Now, they walk into our office. Now, do they need to know at that point, Amanda, whether or not in a car accident case, whether or not their injuries constitute what is known as a serious injury? Are they required to tell us that in order for us to, at that point, decide whether they're going to have a case or not?
No, because Well, under the injury law, there's different types of serious injuries. So you don't necessarily have to have a fracture in order for it to be considered a case on day one. And we've discussed that on a number of other shows. But sometimes day one, you don't know that you have a tear in your shoulder. You don't know about soft tissue injuries. So it's not necessary that you come to us and say, I have a fracture, and that means I have a case.
Right. And in fact, what we tell you is, and we've gone over the categories, in an automobile case, it's very different from a trip and fall case.
Right.
Very different from a construction accident case. Very different from many other types of cases. Because in these other cases that are not automobile, we don't have to prove what is known as a quote-unquote serious injury under the insurance law.
Right.
We have to prove an injury.
Right.
And so that's very, very different. And when we're assessing it, we're listening to it. We're listening to, well, how did this happen? Is there someone negligent? And if, in fact, can you make a recovery for your injuries? Now, on an automobile case, we have to prove a serious injury. As Amanda said, fracture, severe disfigurement, death, a loss of a fetus. Those are 4 categories that constitute a serious injury. But there are other categories that are less obvious. One category says 98 of the first 180 days you couldn't do most of your usual and customary things. And then there's another category that says you suffered a consequential limitation of a body system or part. And consequential is meaning that it's not just minimal, it's something that's significant. And how do we prove that? Well, many years we've been doing this, and we know how to prove it, and they fight us. They fight us really hard, but if you have it, okay, we'll do everything to prove it. So we'll talk to you on the other side, and as we continue our journey to get you justice. Well, welcome back to our program. If you're just joining us, this is personal injury attorney Ken Auerbach. You're on our program from No Fault of Your Own, here with the great associate and co-host Amanda Spinner. And we are live when we're exploring some of the most important issues in personal injuries caused by accidents. If you or someone you care about has been injured as a direct result of someone else's negligence, give us a call, Amanda, and get a hold of us how?
You can give us a call at 631-654-4900, or you can get a hold of us on the web at myinjuryli.com. Again, that's 631-654-4900 or myinjuryli.com.
Would be privileged to fight to get you justice. We'll do a consultation for free. All of our consultations on personal injuries are always free. We'll come to you. We will come to a medical facility. We'll come after hours. We have offices in Patchogue, but we also will see you in any office that we do see people in Nassau and Suffolk County and in the 5 boroughs, and we will make it convenient. If you do retain us, all of our retainers are on a contingency basis on personal injury. It doesn't cost you anything unless we make a recovery, and we'll also add expenses. You won't pay those either unless we are successful. And you can listen to our program every Monday from 4 to 5 p.m. as we do explore these issues. So let's get back to Amanda. The client comes to us now, and oftentimes, as you said, Amanda, they may not know, and they don't know if they are seriously injured because they don't fit into one of the categories that are obvious: the fracture, severe disfigurement, we thank God not death, and then you have a category of a loss of a fetus. So you have one of those other categories, and one of them that's very important is the consequential limitation, which means that the injury is significant. It's not minimal. Right? And so now the client comes to us, and we start having conversations, and we start talking about this person in terms of what's bothering them, right? And we do not just say to them, what hurts?
Right. We do a very comprehensive analysis of your injuries, specifically from head to toe. When I personally sit down with the client, and I know when you sit down with the client, I literally go from the tippy top of your head. And even if you tell me no, I still ask you questions about it, because sometimes something triggers something and you realize, oh, no, you're right, my elbow's hurting me, or something like that. So we're very detailed in the analysis that we do about the injuries.
And what we do is we tell you, we go with truth from beginning to end.
Yes.
Literally truth, okay? You will never, ever, in our presence, have to say anything but the truth, because we will never say anything but the truth also. And when we take the time to see if you're having a problem in a certain area of your body, the reason being is this: a lot of times people are focused on pain.
Yes.
And we've had doctors on the show too, Amanda, that have talked about it. One of the issues when someone is suffering from, let's say, a head injury and they're in a hospital, they're not oftentimes focused on an area where their head doesn't feel right. They're not thinking clearly. And they're just focused on, I'm in pain. This is the part of my body that's pain. And from a human standpoint and a personal standpoint, we're all first and foremost want to get out of pain.
Right.
And so that's the place where you're going to be focused on. We want to make sure, though, that you're not missing something. You're not missing something to treat for and to try to get better. And you're not missing something that may be a serious injury that otherwise it doesn't create pain, but it creates an issue where it's creating limitation. And we've had doctors on the show, Amanda, on head injury cases, and we do a lot of head injury cases in our law firm. And, head injury cases, Amanda, are their own sort of separate world. And I mean that because I think they take more patience in terms of listening to somebody.
Yes.
And focusing on it and asking them about certain symptoms. Are you having symptoms?
Right.
And oftentimes the client, while it's not causing pain, it's creating an issue that's limiting them in some way. And we've had doctors on the show that have said that when a person has a head injury, one of the most important things to do is to let them know that what they're experiencing isn't something they're just imagining.
Right.
And so that they feel empowered. They feel empowered because now someone is focused on something that they're not imagining it, and now they can first go get some help.
Right.
And now they can go to a medical practitioner. Sometimes they have to go to a neurologist. Sometimes they have to go to a neuropsychologist. Somebody who's going to be able to validate what you're dealing with and help you get better.
And I think that's a good point when you say validate what you're dealing with. So, we can do all the analysis we want when you come in, and you can say, I'm hurt here, etc. But unless you treat for those injuries, we can't get you compensated for it. So I think it's something we say to our clients all the time, but just because you come in and you say my elbow hurts, but you're only treating for some other body part, we can't get you compensated for that.
And what's really interesting too is sometimes there's doctors out there, and what they'll say is, look, I believe my patient. I believe what they said. I believe they have it. So why do I need to do some testing? And what I say is the reason for testing sometimes is twofold. A, because it allows your patient to get better. Probably threefold, I should say. Patient to get better. It allows the person to realize that they're not imagining whatever that alleged pain is.
Right.
And lastly, it's least important, but it's still important, it's a way to objectify what's actually going on. Because, Amanda, we fight these insurance companies all the time. And what they always try to say is, well, how do we know this person really has it? How do we know they're not just saying it?
Right.
How do we know that they're suffering from it? If they, in fact, had the injury, why didn't they go for testing?
Right.
And so it's a fight we have all the time. And don't let them try to convince you, don't worry about it. We'll go ahead and we'll believe you. Don't worry about it. We'll pay you anyhow. They will not pay you a dime.
Right.
Literally a dime without us being able to validate it. And so you really need to treat, because we want you to get better. And if you don't treat, you're not going to get better. And if you don't treat, we're not going to be able to prove anything.
Right.
And so when we work as a team together, to get you better first, and that's the most important thing. And then if you are in an auto accident, seriously hurt, and other kinds of accidents, we don't have to prove, quote unquote, a serious injury. You may have a serious injury, but we don't have to prove it under the insurance law. There's a different way for us to prove it. We have to prove you have an injury, and you're able to, from really the first penny, go ahead and recover if you have a loss, which causes pain, a loss that causes economic loss. So what we want to try to do, folks, is we want to make sure that you're in the driver's seat. Mm-hmm. Okay? They pay these insurance people, and these companies pay these insurance adjusters to protect the money. Okay? I'm not interested in protecting their money. I'm interested in making sure if you're hurt, that you're fairly and justly compensated.
Right.
And we'll go with truth, and we believe the truth will ultimately come out. We'll make sure to press the case. We'll make sure to fight for you. When they start fighting us and start making stuff up, we fight them hard and real hard, and then more hard or harder. Right? So it's our job, folks, to get you justice. But don't think that you're just going to be able to get it oftentimes on your own. Most of the time, my experience is that you need to go to a professional. You need to go to someone who's done this, who's fought them before. They'll tell you, or they'll try to tell you, well, you really don't need to go to a lawyer. I can tell you that most of the time, 99.9% of the time, I can tell you that really is not accurate. It's just them trying to protect themselves, the insurance company trying to reduce their exposure. Had someone last week, and I think we talked about it on the show for a moment, where they got a call from the insurance company, and the insurance company said, well, you know what? We'll give you a little bit of money for it, but I'll tell you what, if you hurt worse, you could come back to us and we'll talk to you again. That's absolutely 100% not true. Once you sign that release and you settle with them, they will never, ever give you another dime.
Right. And it doesn't hurt to give us a call. It doesn't cost you anything. You might as well give us a call after you got into an accident, any type of accident. Discuss it with us, and we'll see what we could do for you. And you get us at 631-654-4900. It's 631-654-4900. Amanda, or on the web, how? myinjuryli.com. Again, that's myinjuryli.com. And again, 631-654-4900. It's our privilege, folks. It really is our privilege to fight to get you justice. Pick up the phone, give us a call, and we will make sure that you're in the driver's seat, not the insurance companies. We'll see you next week. Have a safe week.